So now today what we have, so we have here summarized text. I want to tell you about the summarized text. Okay. What is a summarized text? Summarize is one of my favorites because I really needed this function when I did not know this function. I had sort of some requirements and this is terrific. One of my favorites. Now first of all, let me show you. Okay. Now you see the summarize function actually is a table function, tabular function, like a filter. It is not going to work on this as a measure. You have to use this. I mean, you can't use this here on this window. You have, because this summarize, this DAX returns the table. It is the summarization of report. You guys use group by, right? In database, you know group by, correct? And I heard that in Excel also the formula has come. So group by, it's all about the group by. In Power Query, we have a group by, isn't it? Or let's say you don't know it. We all know the pivots. Pivot does what? It's a group by. Pivot always groups the information. So summarize is exactly the copy of that. I'll show you how to use this first of all. Because it is a table function. It returns the table. It's a tabular function. So I will go and use this new table. Otherwise, if I try to write the function here, the error will come that it has multiple fields and it cannot return the scalar value. We saw that in the case of the filter also, right? So I will go and use this in this window, new table. So what I'm going to do, new table, let's first of all use this new table here. And so this file is day10. I've not deleted any of these the DAX here. Okay. So first of all, I'll just use this as summarize DAX. Okay, this is the name I'm going to give. And let's begin this summarize table, the group by, the name and the expression, right? Now, actually, let me just press enter. What I should do, I should first take you to the data. We should know what we are supposed to do, right? So let's go to the toy data. Now, if I ask you, I want to see the country-wise total. I want to see the country-wise total, like I want to see the total sales from each of the country. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Every country I want, like suppose we have France. So in France, what is the total sale or any other field? This is what I want for every country. If I create a table here, table can do that, or even the matrix. This is the requirement using a DAX, of course, because we need, I'll tell you, let's see. So I'll put the country and the sales, right? So yeah, this is what I want. I want to create this. This is what? This is group actually in a way, because I don't see the repetition here, and you can put as many fields here. So this is all called the grouping, and summarize is the function which can do this for you. It can summarize the data, right? Now in the summarize, so basically what happens here, you have to tell that on which country you want group by. I mean, on which you want that repetition should not be there. It has to be unique value. And then you need to tell the name of the column. Right now, we already have got, but when we will use the summarize, we will tell you have to group by the country, because I want to see the data country-wise. You can group anything. And then you need to create a extra column, which has, let's say, a name called my sales or whatever. And then you need to go and apply a function, which is called sum on the field. This sales or on any other field also. You can have multiple grouping also with multiple fields. For example, if I put the country here, you all know that if I put the age group here like this, what can happen? You will still see the grouping now. I mean, you will not see the day-on-day data, France with this, France with this, France with this. So this is a two-level grouping, isn't it? So that is also we can do in the summarize. And if I need the, let's say, apart from sales, I want to see something else. Like cost or something else, I can use that. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is that this is a table view. This is a normal table. But sometimes in calculation, what if I want this type of a table? Yes. Right. you all know that filter provide us the table, but filter provides us the table in a different way. Like filter can go here and filter can say, okay, so tell me what is the criteria. You say that the criteria has to be that the number should not be, sales should not be including 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, let's say the numbers, So you can put the criteria over there. The customer, the age group should be excluding maybe this and this. So this is what the filter does for you. Filter puts the criteria. And once that data is given to calculate, or maybe let's say any other function, we are now, that DAX, where the table is provided, filter table is provided, that will have only access to this data now. It will not have the access to the entire data. This is what we have learned, correct? But right now we are talking about the summarization. Because here, if you see, we are seeing the data row by row. We don't need that. We need the summarization. Whatever the sales we have so far, for let's say any country, right? For each of the country, actually, we need just the total. So if I have here 10 countries, I should see that summarization. Against my 10 countries, what was the total sale? Or maybe what was the total cost, whatever. This is exactly what we need. And this is something filter can't do. Because filter does is normal, the filters. It gives the normal filters to us. Okay. The summarize is very powerful. You have, in a way, you can say that now you have a more control on your data if you know the summarize. So how I'm going to do that? So naturally, because it returns the table, you can't use that as I said. So we have to go in the data view first of all here and produce the new table. Okay, now you understand, right? So then this is what we will do. We will go in the summarize. Actually, I have already created this. Let's go here. This one. Yeah, see that now. Summarize. Let's start the summarize table. So where is that data? That's very simple. The data is in this table. Okay, fine. Now, what do you want to group by? Group by column. Which column do you want to group? Which means that the field I want unique. I don't want any repetition on that field. It should group it, isn't it? Now, here we need the country, isn't it? I want the country where I have 5,000 rows and each of the countries is repeating. I want one unique country. So each country should appear once. No repetition. It's like pivot. So we are pivoting here. Right. So I'm going to say that group by, and I'll use the country. This is what I will use. Right. Now, when I press comma, do you want to group further anything? If you want to group, let's say, the country, you want to keep up some combination, you can do that. You can put the age group also. Okay. You can put the age group also. It's all up to you. I will not do that. I will simply say I need the total sales for each of the country. So please give me the summarization. So what you have to do here, just simply go and start looking at the next parameter, which is group by column and then comma, dot, main one. Because they say that maybe you want to go and group the things based on 2 fields or 3 fields. No, we do not need that. We do not need that. So I will simply write the name. The name is the column. So I'm going to say that the moment I start writing in the double quote, you see it's automatically there, right? Because table field cannot be in the double quote. So when you start with the double quote, it knows that this is the column name. So I'm going to write here my sales. Total sales. I'll write my total sale. Okay. Total sales. And then so what expression? Now this is where you need to tell that under this header, new header, my total sale, what I want to do. So if you have already created a DAX, you can use that. We have already created, if you remember, some DAX, I guess, right? Otherwise, you can use the sum function as well. It's up to you. I'm just going to use the sum DAX here. This is the function which is going to sum the total sales, these sales, isn't it? So we are telling that we need actually the sales against each of the country, and the header has to be my total sale. Okay, and this is what I need. So just press enter or maybe click here. So we should be able to see the data if the function works properly. I'll look at this now. Can you see that? Right? So this is very, very powerful. Right? So you have the my total sale. Now, for example, if I want further more things after my expression, I can again then start giving the new name. Let's say I want the item shift. So I can write total item shift. Items shift. I'll delete this, but I'm just telling you when you can do this way also. And then comma, expression. Now here you can have the average as well. Whatever. So I don't remember exactly what was the formula we created for item shift. If I just go and say, yeah, I think this was the one. item ship tags. Yeah. So this way also, so one more header will be created, one more column will be created, and that will be named as total item ship. And there you will have this calculation, right? As data summarization is happening in the toy data again, based on group by this country. So we should expect here one more column. So, I mean, you can go and create these different calculations in the summarize, right? As I said that, like, for example, if I come here, this is my, if you see this, I press comma, this is group by column 1, right? So if I put here one more column, comma actually, I can group by, let's say, age group. So I'll type in here the age group. So now what will happen? Grouping will happen based on these 2 fields, right? So if I have 10 countries and in 10 countries, I have 5 different age groups. So all those 10 will be grouped based on the age group. So each country then will appear 5 times, like India with age group 1, India with age group 2, and then India with age group 3, and so on. And then every country, right? This is how the group by happens. So just want to show you actually. So you see, we have this. Now you can see this country, this is having the age groups here. And based on that, it's giving you now the total. So it's looking for the combination of UK age group 6 to 1. And the total and then item ship. This is how it is calculated. Okay, so this is all about this. So you can have the summarization in this way also. Okay, now since we have created this, I think let me not delete this. I'll just keep this as a summarized tax statement. First of all, TBL, for example. Okay, and let me create a new table now. So what we need is simply, let's copy this, or let's do this one thing. Let's create another one. Summarize. That's it too. Next, table 2. Table 2. So quickly write summarize, PowerShell, group by country, name, my sales, for example, my sales, total sales. Okay. Or maybe something else. Business store, business sales, business sales. Okay. And then next question is, I want the sum. You can write the sum, or you can use the sum DAX. It's up to you. Let's use this. Center, and there we have the data now. So that's how we get the data. Now this is the same data which you see here, isn't it? If I just remove the cost from here, So I mean, we can create this type of a data as well, right? Now this all I'm creating because I want to first check. I want to do the testing if this function is working or not. But as we said that day also, that this way, if you have to use the summarize with different criteria, like grouping 2 level, 3 level. So every time you will start relating the functions like this, this is going to take a space. This will take a space. You don't need that. Why? Because I can directly supply this table, this summarize DAX, to some other DAX, which can return me the scalar value. And the beauty is that DAX measures, they get calculated on the fly. Right? They create everything on the virtually everything gets created. So when you just press enter, the table gets created, the query runs, and finally you get the result. And the moment you get the results, everything is gone on the fly. So it's actually not going to take any extra space. But since we're learning this, this is a good practice that we can see that how the functions are working. Okay. So anyways, so finally we have created this table, let's say. Okay. You can create, I'm not saying that you can't, but generally we don't do that because this is just for the understanding perspective. Okay. Now, so we have learned now what is summarize function, right? Now you see, so in the summarize function, we have covered the first part, which is how it works, right? So how it works, this is the understanding of this summarize. You can see both these tables here. Okay. Now I have one question for all of you. But understand this as somebody who is new to the DAX, right? See, you have this table. This is the same table actually. Let me remove the actually. This is the same table we have created here, isn't it? So my point is that now, if you are asked to find that how many countries how many countries exist where the total sales have been found more than $5,000. How many countries we have in our system, in our company, in our data, where the total sale we are talking about, not everyday sale, total sale. Like this is a total sale, right? This is coming from 3 years. This is what we are talking. But if I want to find out how many countries have exceeded the sale 50,000, which actually is, if I just put the filter here, sorting in the descending order. So there are 2 countries, this and this, because the rest of the countries are below 50,000. So I want to get the coup count. I want to get the coup count. How will you do that? That's the point. How will you do that? The first thing is that, as a beginner, because you have to find the total countries with sales are more than 50,000. The first thing that comes in our mind is, it's actually the totaling of the sale based on a criteria. So why should I not use calculate? Is calculate the right option for me? Because calculate has total in the first parameter, right? And in the second parameter, I can put the filter, isn't it? So if you go and write the calculate, for example, I'm just trying to make this clear based on how newcomers, they will try to approach this problem. So you're not a newcomer, but still DAX takes some time, Now I go and write here, let's say, for example, calculate. Okay. And here, because I have to find out the sales, I'm just going to write here some sales, or maybe simply that the DAX, which is some DAX, right? This means that I have to find the total. But now in the filter, guys, what do you think? What are you going to have? I asked this in one of my groups. So I was just, curious to know that how many people, because a lot of people said they know BI. So I just thought that let me ask them. So I gave them this question that this is your data and this is what you have to do, right? You have to tell me the countries in numbers. How many countries have got sale more than 50,000? Most of them replied with this answer. That calculate, and here they started, the same thing, that filter. I'm going to put the filter here, or maybe not the filter, but simply we can just write sales. It should be greater than 50,000. So first of all, I want to clear this thing to you that this is very wrong. You have not actually understood the question properly. This works like how? If you present it, I'll just show you this. Okay. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? So this gives you the blank answer. This gives me the blank answer. Now, what I'm going to do, all this should be given to you so that when you are revising, step by step, you should repeat the same things, isn't it? That will help you creating becoming strong in the fundamentals. So what I will do, which I should have done before this starting the class, let's create this day on this today, the DAX 4. Okay. So let's go in the enter data underscore DAX 4. So just enter right here. Rename this later on. It's all up to you. So okay, we have this here. Right. And this DAX, this one. This one. Let me just move this under the DAX 4. Let's keep the things neat and clean. Yes. And I'm just going to write this here as, so this is like question number 2 actually. And summarize and wrong approach. Okay. Summarize, wrong approach. All right. Let it just present it. And this also, the summarize we have created here, this should be actually Q1 because we have tried to understand this, the definition of this. So I'm just going to keep this as Q1, how it works actually. Okay. One thing is this. Same way, this will help you in cross-checking. Yes. At the end of the day, when you have this file with you, my point is that why I'm not deleting the previous filters. You don't have to open multiple files. This will help you. And since you have covered so many DAX, so this will help you going in these different bins, right? Okay, so now let's come to this. Now, please understand. So I was telling you that this is definitely the mistake you're going to do. Okay, many of you will do, right? Because the thing is, here we have the criteria and we have the salience. So we are very much fond of the calculate. Now, calculate is showing the value 0. Why? The reason is that you see here, see, where is your data? Now, yeah. So here we have this row by row, the data, right? So every sale, if you see, this is a day on day sale, day on day. But you are actually you're comparing this with 50,000, right? You're comparing this 50,000, that it has to be greater than 50,000, because your plan actually is that you want to go and check the total sale of this process, right? But in the calculate, when you are actually asking that it should sum the sales, you are saying it has to be greater than this all paid has to be greater than 50,000. This has to be greater than 50,000. How it can be greater than 50,000, right? Because there every row is being calculated. You're not talking about each of these individual sales. These are because day on day. You're talking about that if I just see the country as a whole, any country, if I pick UK, there I want to see the total. And that's the reason that everywhere when you start comparing this, when you start comparing this, when you start comparing this, and down the line when you keep moving in this way, I mean, all these sales, you will not find anywhere this big value, 50,000, right? So what happens then in that case? This calculate does not give the any answer because there's no criteria qualified there. Okay, so that's the first thing you should understand, that this is not going to work in this way. Are you getting the point, right? Because I don't want to give the directly the solution. In that case, you will not be able to capture that particular essence of this the DAX, right? It is not going to make you stronger in the fundamentals. Of course, initially you may go and use 2-3 functions and you will not get the output. But my point is that once you have thought on something and that is not working, you should be able to resolve that problem. You should be able to know that, okay, so this was actually the mistake. I was wrong here, right? So I gave you the answer that this is not the approach, because we are looking for the total. Now, how the total can be provided? For total, we have to summarize. Because understand, on the one side, we are talking about this. We have this table where the filter is working. And when the filter is working, it's like this. You have the sales, repeated sales. And here you're telling the calculate, go here and start comparing. Greater than 50, greater than 50. So it's not going to work. It's not going to work because we need to compare the total sales. For that, then, this is the right data. Now, how to get this data? That's the problem now. How I can create this data while calculating, summarize. So we have already created that table. Exactly this table. In this table, if I say that if the sales are greater than 50,000, all those rows, countries, rows, yes. If you give this to a calculate can do this for you, isn't it? So because now this table is not something, I mean, which is being calculated only on the fly. This table exists. We have created this. So can I just use this table? Because this table has a name, which is called Q1 summarize. So can I not use this table and supply this table to the calculate? And then I tell the calculate, you just give me the, I'm giving you this table and you just need to give me the sales greater than 50,000. So put the filter where? Business sales. Now table is changed entirely. Well, we can try. I don't know. We can try. If the error comes, we will see. Right? So go here and again we use the new measure. On every sheet, make a note. Create a text box and start writing. This is what we have done. This is what I found. So this is the first question is why it did not work. But so the fundamental issue was this, and also make good notes on every page so that once you come back, you can revise this. You can read those notes. So I'm going to write here question number 2. Okay. And now we will start writing like summarize, for example. Okay. So my first, how I want to do it, let's see. I'm just going to write a calculate. I'm not sure. In the expression, now what do I want to give in the expression? Obviously, I want the sum, not the toy shop now. We are far away from that now. We will use the function, we will use the table called summarized tax underscore table 2. Are you with me, right? So we will go and say sum, and I will start typing this Q1 underscore summarize. Is there? You see that? So what I want to sum, I want to sum actually the table to business sales. Yeah, business sales. This is what I want to actually not sum. I want to actually count, isn't it? So I will just use count. Can add also. I want to count. Perfect. Now I'll press the comma. Okay. Now, is this what I'm going to use? Toy data? No, because if I'm supplying the table called summarized tax this underscore table 2, naturally, filter has to be from there, isn't it? Because it's using this table now. So I will again say that Q1 underscore summarize this table, right? This is my table. And here we will simply choose the business sales. What do you say? And we will say that you just go and filter this number for me. Yeah? Is this possible now? Well, let's go and check. Remember, we are actually counting. We're using the count function in the calculate, right? So I'll just press enter, and let's see now. And let's go there, and let's see that number. Wow, this is coming. Perfect. Perfect, right? Remember that I was telling you that many times you will be needing the functions where you can customize the tables, because most of the functions, they need that customization. They need that table in the filtered form. Rest they can do very easily, right? So these are those functions. Like you have the filter, now you have this summarize as well. Filter cannot do this job for us, in my opinion, right? If I go by the fundamentals, right? So this is how we can calculate the number of countries. You see that we have the 2 countries only. We have the 2 countries only. So this is how we can go and calculate this. Okay. So I've given you both the approaches in the, let me create the border here first. Yeah. So you always need to check these things when you're writing the formula, that how the table is going to look like. What type of a table I should provide to my DAX, right? Because see, DAX always works on the data, guys, right? Sometimes we use the data as it is, the direct data. And if we have a problem, like in this case, we had the issue, we wanted to calculate the totals, and we want to put them somewhere against each country, that these are the countries with their total. We are not going to calculate every row, because that's not what is being asked here, right? So we created this function. Summarize.
Ajay, I have one question here. So, as we have seen that we have the table, created a different separate table for this by the type of the formula. So, is there the possibility by not doing approach, adopting this approach, we can do the filter that we have did about top and on rules that too, and that, and we get the information from there?
Yes, I'm coming to that point. Now,
Okay,
so what he's saying is basically,
the first thing is, for example, that the table that I'm seeing here, India, France, Sudan, and we are having the total sales. So by applying the top and filter over there, and we can find the top 2 or 3, whatever country sales we want to see. Is that possible in this condition or not? We can go with that approach, or that approach is not suitable for this situation.
so your voice is not clear. Come back again. Got to speak louder.
Yeah, I am saying that, yeah, in this table, what we are seeing here, that new table that we have created, in this the country names is there, sales is there. So by applying the top end filter, can we opt that option to get the 2 top country sales and show the picture from that thing also?
Yes, but wait for that. I will discuss the open also. Okay. Right now we are not.
And one more thing, Ajay, as you have shown the number here too. But if you want to see the country name with the sales here, not the number two. For example, here the question is saying how many countries are there. But if the question is what countries are there with the top two sales, then if the formula would be different.
Yeah, so let's see that one by one. So for countries, if you want the top two countries name over here, well, then we have to look at the, what you call, the DAX maybe, which can actually just take the two values. So let's go and see that later. Just keep that question for your, this top index. When I will discuss that, then we'll see. But yes, one thing which you have asked me, which I was actually going to tell you everyone. So he has asked that this function we are using here. So he has asked three questions. One is that do we necessarily have to create this table? As I myself stated that, this takes extra space. So why not to do everything on the fly? So this is the first thing. The new version which you will actually use is without creating the table. How can we achieve the same result? So we don't have to create the table. This table we created just to make ourselves comfortable that how the summarize is going to work. Because if I don't show you this table in this way, you will not be able to understand much, right? The second question he asked, something related with the top performers, if I want to see only the top performers, right? Well, you have to wait for that because that we will discuss in the top end. There's another DAX. The third, he said that, so what if I want the two country names over here? Okay, so that again, we will see after counting the top end. Right now, we're not discussing top or the bottom performers. We are simply saying, give us the count, right? So we have calculated, we have created this table and we counted. Now I'm saying that imagine this table does not exist. Then what will we do? Right? So here, basically the question is that question number two, can we do it without creating the table or summarize? Yes, we can do that. We will always do that until you need to specifically check something. Okay, for that you can create that. So now let me show you how we're going to do it. See, so we created here what? This is my DAX. You created here the calculate and you said you need the count from this table and the table exists. Now let's immediately go and shoot out this new measure here and start writing the calculate and start creating the table itself there. And let's see if we can do that or not. Okay. So I'll simply go here and say, this is my question number 3. Right. So I will write calculate for example now. All right. Now, the thing is that when I'm going to use the expression, if that table does not exist, where I'm going to use that expression? Summarize table does not exist. This is now what I'm considering for now, right? That table does not exist. This table does not exist. What I'm supposed to tell here that you need to add what? You need to count what? Okay, let's say I want to count. Let's try to use the toy data. Again, the same situation will come. As I said, that when you provide the toy data, the problem is that in the toy data, I don't have the totals. When I put the criteria here, right? Now, one thing which right on thinking that, first of all, let's just go and get the right name, which is sales. Yeah. So one thing which I'm thinking right now, if you're also thinking that, why don't we go and create the table here? Like use a filter also here, isn't it? So is it possible now to create the filter here and in the filter, provide the summarized table? And then we can write the criteria. Are you getting my point? Because you also have to, so summarize will give you the entire data, this data, but then you have to pick only, greater than 50,000. A filter is a function which can take the table and at the same time filter can provide the expression also. Because you see, the problem is that if I just simply go and summarize, if I start writing the summarize, okay, summarize, this is what you have. And this is what I want from you, that you go and start typing the country. And then, I'm going to give here, let's say, again, business. I just write here, total sales, total sales, my sales, my total sales. Outputs, and then expression will be, I want to add the sales. Type in the sales. Yeah, this is the one, right? So right now our plan is that we are going to work on the toy data. Okay, and for that, in the calculate here, I'm trying to use this data. Right? So I'll close the formula. So this is the table now, right? But you see, the thing is that in this table, where is that context, filter context? I mean, that criteria. It has no criteria here. It is just going to give me this data. So what I will do, because this returns a table, and at the same time, the filter function also accepts the table in its first parameter. So instead of writing a toy shop, can I not use this? Maybe I can. Fundamentally, we are going fine, isn't it? I mean, this requires table, and I'm giving you the table. Filter, I'm giving you the table. But why I'm using the filter now? Because filter says, let me close this first of all. Yeah. Filter says, well, I can pick you from here. So once I have given this table to the filter, I'm just going to say, now filter, you got to put the filter on what? On the my total sale, not the toy data. Remember that point, because this is the table now we are giving to the filter. So this field, this field is created. It is going to be created the moment we run this, right? So I'm saying my total. You see, it's coming. That's the reason. It's coming. By the way, if I try to write toy, you see that it's not showing me all the fields. This is again a big help. If you can't see that, it means there is something wrong. You have taken a wrong choice, wrong decision of using the toy data. Because you see, the table we are talking about here is a different table. It's not toy shop. It's basically using the toy data, but in that toy data, the table actually has only two fields. One is your country, and the second is my total sale. Don't go here. This is the table field we are using. This I'm just because I can't take you back here. My formula will be broken, right? It will break. So this, instead of the sales, you have my total sales. Now, when you have a table with two fields, my total sale and country, you can't go and use some other field, right? So that's the reason when I start writing in my total, this field comes, right? So I'm just going to say, okay, so this field should be greater than 50,000. This field should be greater than 50,000, right? Let me just go and press enter, for example, like this. Done and done. Now, if I press enter, and I just click on this, and I go and put the function, this here. See this. You are getting the wrong answer. It's not the correct answer. The reason is that basically, if you go back here you are using the main data. While in the calculate, the table that we are using, we are providing to the calculate is a different table. It's a table which has only two fields, two columns. So how come we have the sales, isn't it? So there is a clash here. Now you may think that, okay, so it means that we should actually go and type in here because this is a count. So what I have to count? Can we not go and type in this my total sale here? Okay. Well, of course, as somebody who is learning the DAX, someone like me will definitely go and try, right? So I'll start typing here that, I need the my total sale like this. See that? But my total sale, don't use this. This does not exist as a state. This does not exist. This is using this table, right? So we're not talking about this one, right? We're not talking about this my. We're talking about this my total sale, which is in capital. Can you see that field here? No, you can't. We can't use this. Why? Because this itself is a field name. This itself is a field name, and when I'm going to count something, I have to provide the table name along with that field name. But where is the table? Because table gets created here. This has to be there while writing the formula. Table has to be there, right? However, table you are supplying later. So this means that using this basically approach, we are not going to get the answer. So I'm just trying to tell you that, these all things, when you try and you don't get the results, this is all a part and parcel of your learning. But you should know that what is happening here. Because this table itself is not giving you those options. This right now, my total sale, let me just put this something else, because my total sale I created here also. So let's say I say that my business sales, for example. Yeah, my business sales. Like this, for example. And of course, then you have to go and change this, my business sales, right? So my point is that if you go and change your mind, okay, now toy data, we can't use that because toy data is not being used here. It's a different format now. It's a different table. Well, if you try to check here, when you use the count, like, you come back here and say, okay, no problem, I'll just fill that. So my header is like what? My business sales. Where is the my business sales? You're not going to see that. First table has to be there to refer to that field. Table is nowhere. Table is, later you're creating it, right? So this way, what I mean to say, this way, we can still, have the challenges, right? So I'm now trying to figure it out. So what if I have to use this? First of all, let's just correct this. So if I have to create a table on the fly, how can I do that? How can I do that? Because this is not going to work now, this time in the calculator. Okay, now let's see that, how we can do that. Okay, so I'm just going to write here, challenge, drop. I just keep this as wrong. Now you see, I have got the summarize with me. I'm just going to copy that. Just going to copy this. Let me copy this. Okay. I go here and I say new measure. Let's see now. I say this is my table. Perfect. If I press enter, I'll get the error. And I know that you can't use this because it doesn't return scalar value. That's okay. But I know I have tested this. This is coming over there. And I have this header called business sales. I'm just going to keep this as my business sales. Okay. This is what I want. Right. So business sales is my new header. Now you see, this data is already given to you. On the fly also, it is going to calculate. Now here, what if, because I have to give the criteria, one thing is sure. Because this returns me the entire data, total sale of the countries. One thing is sure that I have to filter the data because I just need the two particular the rows, right? So what will happen if I say only the filter and I get this table there and I press comma and I say that now the business sales, because that is the field, the business sales should be greater than 50,000. I know that still this is not going to work here, but just to cross check, can we not go and use this table, this DAX in the table option? Because if this table works there, then I'm very close to my solution. Ideally, this now should give me only the two countries, India with France, and their sales under the header business sales. And fundamentally, logically, everything is, I think, okay with you, right? You understand that this is why we are doing this, isn't it? Because we need the criteria. So we are basically using one DAX in another DAX, and this and both are tabular. So I go here and I want to cross check. I go in the home tab, and then later I will delete it, of course, So I'm just going to say go table, but I will not delete for you. Okay. And so I just simply go and write this function. Make sure you have equals to sign, and I'll give this filter and summarize. Okay, this is what I have. Okay, let's just press enter. Let's see that. Wow, fantastic. Finally, this is the table we needed it. Remember, we are not using this table as a real table, so a table which actually exists. This is all I'm showing you, right? You can delete this because this already is there. This already is here. Where is there? Here. This table is created here. Everything will happen on the fly. Now, finally, when we have got the table, so what we have to do now? Well, generally, I have to just count the number of rows, isn't it? Because the filter has done its job. Filter has given me the required number of rows, the right number of rows. I just need to count the rows. So what are you going to do now, guys? What will you do now? What is the last step to count the countries? Who answer?
I think we will go with the count formula again and we will use this formula.
No. You are again doing the fundamental mistake. In the count, they ask you for the column. This is not the column. It's the table. Why will you use the count? Because count says, give me the column name of that table. Here, you don't want that. Here, see, this all is basically a table. Here, we are not talking about any column. You can't write provide this function inside the count or even the sum, because they function just simply need the one parameter, the name. Now here we have an entire table, and this is the table which actually we have created here on the fly. It doesn't exist anywhere. I can't give any field, isn't it? Yes, but at least you thought of it, which is good. What else?
Can you calculate the
Calculate. Okay, so in calculate again, then what will you do? You provide this. You provide this. Okay, so calculate. Yeah. Okay, but then so this goes in the second parameter, right? What will you write here then? What are you going to count here then? Again, you will say I use the count. So if I'm using the count, can I use the count here?
No.
If I use the count here, what is the step I'm going to write? Which field? Can I write business underscore sales? This field, remember, this field it's showing here because we have created this. Right now, this table does not exist anywhere. Ignore. Not this table, not this table. Whatever is happening right over here, it is happening. It is going to create, it is going to count and press enter, and then there is no table on the fly. Right? So same thing, this is the one I have discussed with you just now. That table does not exist. That I showed you because obviously I want to clear this thing. Well, you forget one thing. There is a function you did, which is count rows. Right? Simple. Count rows. What it says, guys. Remember the day one table. And what is this then? Is this not a table? Yes, it's a proper table. Right? So I will say that I have already given you the right table. First, smartly, we said that let's pick the total sales of each of the country by using the summarize. Once I have those 10 countries with their total sale, I said, now I want to actually put the filter. Then I will look for that function where I can use this table with the filter. The filter is my first function, which comes in my mind because it has both table parameter and then criteria also. And then I just put that and then I cross-check also. It's working perfect. It's giving me the 2 rows. Finally, when I have the rows, I just want to count them. A count row is a function which says, give me the table, I'll count the rows for you, isn't it? So I'm just going to close this. And now let's press enter. Okay. So there we go. And I'll just put this here. And I think we got the answer. See that. So this is the answer to that question, that you don't need to create the tables. You will never create these tables. Everything is calculated on the fly. You'll save the space because, now further they will tell you that, okay, so we need to find out the same thing, but based on the 2 group by country with, let's say, age group. Then you keep on doing this. If you go by the previous approach, you keep on creating those tables and then using those tables. This is just for your information that yes, this also can be done because fundamentally it is fine. But we will not do that, because I just have to calculate my numbers and I'll do that in this way. It's as simple as that. Okay, so this is how.
Sir, can we please go to Q2 summarize DAX? I just want to check which fields we have taken in that to get the 2.
1 second. Put this on here in the sequence form. Yes, where do you want? This one?
Yes, sir, Q2 summarize DAX. So, sir, here we have taken the sales 2 times, right?
Here we have
taken the sales, the same column 2 times.
Yes, we have taken. See, here, actually, table is all created. That's the table we are referring to, this table, this one. But what is this? Where is that table? Some Q1. Once again, this is
table 2, sir. Table 2.
Yeah, this is the table. So this table has these 2 fields. This one.
One is country and one is business sales.
So see, now this table exists here, but our question was that what if I don't want to create this table and I want to calculate everything on the fly? I mean, I want to create a table, same table, but it should not exist here because this is going to take a space then. This is a small table. I may have a lot of other countries, or maybe let's say you are working on some categories, you have thousands of those categories, right? So we are saying that this table, if it is created, you can refer to this table very easily. Why? No doubt. This is what we can do. We can see.
Yeah, this one I understood that we just did recently. I just I was wondering like why we considered the same field 2 times. What were the parameters there?
This one.
Yes, in Q2 summarize it.
In Q2, this one.
This one, yes, yes.
But this
What
is the wrong one.
parameters were same column?
Hey, you're talking about this one.
No, sir. Q2 summarize that where we got 2 after creating the table separately. So here what we did, we had applied the calculate and then count. After that count, what was the parameter? The table or column?
No. First, you tell me what count demands, a table or column?
I think column.
Yeah,
That we
count. So when the count function demands column, I can't give the table to that function. I have to give the column, and the column too has to be like, because it's a count function. So I think, well, in this case, count. So this count works differently from Excel, because in Excel, if you apply the count on text, you'll get 0. But here I can apply the count on text field also. But since in my table I have only 2 fields, like one is business sales and the other one is the country, right? So I was interested only in counting that particular field. Now I think if I'm right, then I can also go and supply at the country, because ultimately the criteria is what matters here. That you need to count what? You need to count greater than 50,000. The criteria should be on the business sales. But then what I'm saying that, okay, so once you have the criteria greater than 50,000, so wherever the true comes, that field you need to pick. So I said, let's pick the same field, business sales. But if I simply go and write it country, I think this will still work, because as I said, in DAX, the count also works on the text field. Okay, so let me just go and write here. But the fundamental is that, let me first press enter. Let's see that. See that. Okay, so the thing is, you can't supply here the table. If you just supply the table, you're going against the rule, because when you write the count, what happens? So you can't write it like this. Once again, so if I write count, but the count says I need the column, so how I can provide the table. So when I provide the column, table it comes automatically, right?
got it, sir. I think in first parameter there was a expression parameter, and after then filtration, right?
Here in the calculate,
Yes, it's expression. That is why we have given the count, number of count rows, whatever the country we have, and then we filtration more than 50 count.
yes, in calculate, I told you that the first parameter will always use the DAX. Whether
Yes.
you have already created the DAX, so if you have already created the DAX here, you can just write the DAX name here, like we were using the sum underscore DAX, or if you want to create a fresh DAX or DAX, then you can do that as well here. Ultimately, the calculation will happen here. The aggregation will happen. Count sum, count rows, even distinct count, whatever.
Perfect, sir, perfect.
So, so this is how once we can sort out these problems. So you can use this as well. You can use this as well. But this basically, well, this will mean that you're actually going to put a load on your the calculation, because this is a very small data. But still, then even if it is a small data, why will I create these extra, the tables over here? Right? It's better that we just calculate the things on the fly. Table gets formed, query runs, it checks the things, it returns the value, and that's it. And you don't see anything. Okay, so this is what exactly it is. That's why I said knowing the filter is very important. You remember that somewhere here when I was telling you that you can use the calculate also with the filter, but before that we also use the calculate in the criteria. We didn't use the filter. We just used the reference to the columns, right? So I told you that because I have to teach you, we have to learn how to use the filter function. This is the best example, right? So now here actually filter is playing such an important role. And then we use the wrong approach also, right? So because I wanted to explain you that, because I know as a student, as a beginner, what can go in your mind. So it's better, we should answer, because when we were struggling with these things, because see, when the technology comes, it takes some time. On the internet also, people, don't write this immediately. You will find very few authors who are talking about this. Mostly they are the ones who have invented this. But then gradually it takes time, the things comes in the market. But by that time, as a learner, you spend a lot of hours, endless hours. So that's why I thought you should know these things at the very initial level. Okay. So, yeah, so it's not the call out value. Actually, I just want to make sure this should be visible. Yeah. Okay. Summarize. So now you have a more control on your data apart from the filters. You can summarize it, and you can summarize this on different levels also, isn't it? Now, if I ask you the same question, but I say that you have to go and give me the total count of those countries, based on the age groups, that how many categories they are there, which have met, let's say, the revenue greater than, let's say, 10,000. Because once I put the other category into this, the number of sales will, reduce, isn't it? The total revenue will reduce. So that again, you can do the same thing. You just need to only change the table. Rest everything remains the same. The group by which we will run, that group by basically use the second group here, and that's it. So you'll have the table, and in that table, we are interested only in counting the rows, how many rows we have got it. Okay, so in this way.